like that's about it. So we will go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I want to say good morning and welcome to CalCAP's Lender Roundtable. My name is Lauren Dominguez, the CalCAP SSBCI Program Manager, and I have with me today Doreen Smith, CalCAP Manager, who will be monitoring the chat for questions, and Melissa Foster, Program Analyst, who will be going over the new updates and guidelines for the Collateral Support Program. Now, these are the items that we will be going over today. We are going to be briefly talking about SSBCI funding updates, the importance of the SETI certification, new Collateral Support Program updates, as well as new U.S. Treasury reporting requirements, and updated small business and collateral support program documents. If you do have any questions, you may type them in the chat or ask the questions at the end of the presentation where you are able to raise your hand to be unmuted so you can ask your questions. We will be posting this webinar along with the PowerPoint slides that we are going over today on both of our small business program website and collateral support program website. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. As you know, CPCFA received the following allocations at the end of November 2022 from the first tranche of SSBCI funding. We received $109 million for the Collateral Support Program, $27 million for the CalCAP for Small Business Program. As of quarter ending September 30th, 2023, we have expended roughly about $9.9 million under the Collateral Support Program and $446,000 under the Small Business Program. Part of the funding that was set aside for us to use under SSBCI is for socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, or SETI for short. We received $30 million specifically for SETI businesses, and of the $446,000 that was expended for the small business program, $152,000 was from SETI funding, which brings us to the importance of the SETI certification for every loan. Now, California has a SETI goal of about 50%, meaning 50% of every SSBCI supported loan should be to a SETI small business owner. We cannot use any of the SETI funds unless the small business has certified that they are considered a SETI small business owner. We understand that the small business is not required to certify, but if the borrower does certify, it will help allow California provide U.S. Treasury clarity on who is being served with SSBCI funds, and will allow California to accelerate the rate at which we will make it through the future tranches of funding, which of course will allow our programs to continuously receive funding. Now, businesses can qualify in many ways, as seen on this slide, which is pulled directly from our SETI certification found on our websites. I just want to point out that as long as the small business borrower certifies to any item listed for question 1 on the SETI certification, that will satisfy the SETI requirement. Per U.S. Treasury, the lender can fill out and check items listed for question number 1 based on their observation and internal information that they have gathered from the small business borrower. But the borrower will still need to review and sign the SETI certification when you submit enrollments. And I just want to give a big thank you to all the lenders who are already using and submitting the SETI forms, because it really helps us with reporting and it ensures that we use the set aside of the SETI funds. So now I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, who will be going over the new Collateral Support Program updates.
Good morning, everyone. In response to lender feedback, we have made the following updates to the program. The first update to the CSP program is that the minimum size of the loan that can be enrolled has changed from $50,000 to $25,000. This allows lenders to enroll smaller sized loans. It is important to note that the minimum closing fee for loans enrolled through CalCAP will remain at $1,000. Previously, There were 3 loan types and several support tiers categorized as the following: the green environment loan, bridge loans, and other small business loans. The type of loan and length or term of support was used to determine the amount of CalCAP support. This net support will maximize support, and CalCAP will now support all qualifying loans up to 40% of the loan amount. The type of loan will be categorized under either a bridge loan or a small business loan. An additional 10% in support in either SAC or SETI may be given for qualifying loans, providing a support total of 50%. Moving on to the maximum enrolled loan amount. There is no longer a 2.5 million collateral support cap, and the new maximum collateral support is now $10 million. In the next update, the term of support has been extended from 4 years to 5 years for all term loans and lines of credit. Lenders can now request up to 60 months of CalCAP support. The closing fee for all loans with an original term of support greater than 48 months will be 3% of the general CalCAP support. Lastly, CalCAP will no longer perform annual recaptures on term loans. Instead, recaptures will be completed at the end of support term for that loan. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Lauren, who will be talking about reporting requirements.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Melissa, for those updates. So as we come to the end of the year, we are ramping up for our annual reporting to the U.S. Treasury. This time around with SSBCI funds, the U.S. Treasury is asking for additional information for all loans that have been supported by SSBCI funds that we have not collected before. Therefore, our small business loan enrollment form and collateral support request and updated to collect the required reporting information. So this slide lists the 4 new items that we will be collecting have been added to the enrollment forms. The first item is going to be the small business EIN or tax identification number. If the business is open under any of the small business owner's social security number, you will not need to provide that and may leave this section blank on the enrollment form. The second item that we will be collecting is going to be the form of business, stating if the small business is a corporation, a sole proprietorship, or a limited liability company. The third item we're going to be collecting is the loan origination fees, which is going to be the out-of-pocket costs the small business borrower has to pay for the loan, but this does not include the small business program lender or borrower fees or the collateral support closing fees. And then the last item that we will be collecting is going to be the loan APR. With this being said, we will be collecting the data just mentioned for all loans that were previously funded with SSBCI funds. We are going to be emailing a list of loans to all the lenders who have SSBCI supported loans, asking for the information. I just want to thank everyone in advance because we really appreciate your efforts in gathering the information needed for reporting purposes to the U.S. Treasury. Okay, now this slide shows the links to the updated enrollment forms and certifications. You may start using the updated forms and certifications now, but beginning January 2nd, 2024, the updated forms and certifications will be mandatory for submission for any small business loan enrollment or collateral support request. All of the updated forms will have a revision date of November 28th, 2023. Both the small business and collateral support lender and borrower certifications have been updated to include U.S. Treasury language around conflicts of interest, loan purpose, and some loan exclusions, such as prepayment penalties and loan origination costs. Please also note that CPCFA is reformatting our documents on our web pages to be ADA compliant. You will see that the updated enrollment forms will be formatted different and will be more pages. The links to all of our forms found on our websites have not changed and will remain the same. We are still in the early stages of the conversion process for our other CalCAP documents found on our websites to be ADA compliant. So stay tuned for that. Now, we are also going to be rearranging our web pages to direct the flow of stakeholders to the most appropriate locations on our website, which have already been done to the Collateral Support website as seen on this slide. The Small Business Program website is currently being reorganized and will be updated in the next coming weeks. And that brings us to our last informational item. So does anyone have any questions or comments about anything we've discussed thus far? You can raise your hand to be unmuted, or you can type your question in the chat box and we could read the question aloud and answer it for everyone. If anyone has any other questions. Anyone? Okay, so while we're waiting for questions, I do have a few CalCAP facts and some upcoming informational items that I could share with you all while we're waiting for questions in the chat. First CalCAP fact is that this year, 2023, we have celebrated our authority's 50th birthday. So CPCFA has been around back in 1973. Woo! Oh, looks like we do have a question, so we will go ahead and unmute. It looks like Ben. So we'll go ahead and unmute you and you could ask your question.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, hi, Ben.
Hi there. Wonderful presentation. Thank you for this update. I just wanted to bring up that, I know the SETI certification is a very important form for states to unlock that additional funding. I wanted to know, and I wanted to know from has this changed specifically from 1.0 that, that used to be a lender item. And I know this is Treasury, but that I'm expecting, and we've seen in other states that we're utilizing SSBCI programs, lower rates of self-certification versus 1.0. And I expect this to continue as a result. And I'm wondering if the state has seen this so far or any other states. And if that continues, what is the plan?
Well, with the SSBCI SETI certification this time around, this is something new that is required. When we were funded with BCI 1.0, this, the SETI certification as well as the small business, demographic information was not a requirement. And since this is fairly new, in meeting with other states, they are having, a difficult time trying to gather this information. But, we're trying really hard to inform all the lenders of the importance of this SETI information, because in order for us to be able to receive our second and third tranches of SSBCI funding for the programs, we do need to expend at least 80%. And we definitely want to meet that 80% goal, especially with, SETI funding. So it's a big ask, and we're just asking everyone to, try to make it a priority to gather as much information as you can about the small business borrow. Therefore, we'll help out the program and help us to continue to receive funding for the programs.
Absolutely understood. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I would just follow up on that and just push back on Treasury and say this is something that the lenders are very capable of certifying on their behalf and being able to certify at a much higher rate than a customer on an optional form with very tough language in it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it looks like we do have our executive director, Sheila. Sheila, you could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you, Lauren. I just wanted to add that the U.S. Treasury has also released a NOFO, a notice of offer for funding opportunity for technical assistance, a deeper dive with technical assistance for those SETI borrowers to help them navigate and be able to understand the importance of the self-certification and to be able to help them navigate the whole process and understand how there's additional funding available for them. So hopefully that will yield some further support for the lenders. But I do agree with Ben that it is a good thing that the lenders were able to be the ones to certify in 1.0. So but there is additional support coming from U.S. Treasury on that end.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheila. Does anybody else have any questions? You could go ahead and raise your hand and we can unmute you. While we're waiting, I'll go ahead and make a few more announcements. Please keep a lookout for our 2024 yearly lender certification email asking for your 2024 point of contacts and authorized signers. So this email is going to be sent out to all of our lenders currently participating in the next few weeks. I don't think we don't have any questions in the chat, and I don't see any more hand raised. So with that, the last informational item that I'm going to share is that we will be attending the U.S. Treasury SSBCI Western Regional Conference held in San Francisco next week on December 5th through December 7th. So stay tuned for additional information coming your way after the conference. If you have any future questions or comments, please send an email to the CalCAP inbox. Feel free to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, to learn more about our program events. Again, this webinar is recording and PowerPoint posted to our website by the end of the week, and the link is going to be shown here on this slide. Thank you again for your time and participation, and we hope that you all have an amazing day today. Thank you, everyone, for attending.